U.S. health advisors have endorsed a one-dose COVID-19 vaccine from Johnson & Johnson. AP's Ed Donahue reports.
This is the third vaccine authorized for emergency use. Dr. Anthony Fauci calls them highly effective.
Each of them are very effective against severe disease, and virtually all of them say that you look at the data and it's clear that you get essentially no hospitalizations or deaths.
FDA advisors say the benefits of the Johnson & Johnson vaccine outweigh the risks, but new supplies of vaccine are needed to keep up with variants of the virus. Dr. Fauci says they're working on that.
We will conduct a phase 1 study, which we will begin in mid-March.
Shipments of a few million doses of the Johnson & Johnson vaccine could begin as early as Monday. Ed Donahue, Washington.
The UN Health Agency has called on member states of the World Trade Organization to lift intellectual property protections on COVID-19 vaccines so that they can be produced more widely to accelerate efforts to quash the pandemic. World Health Organization Director General Tedros Adhanom Ghebreyesus told reporters in Geneva Friday that we can't beat COVID without vaccine equity.
Sharing the vaccine which is being produced is actually the best way to bring lives and livelihoods back to normal.
South Africa and India in October presented a proposal to temporarily waive intellectual property protections on vaccines. Rich countries with big pharmaceutical industries, including Britain, Switzerland, and the United States, have resisted or raised questions about the proposal, which would need consensus under WTO rules. A newly declassified U.S. intelligence report released Friday says Saudi Arabia's crown prince likely approved the killing of U.S.-based journalist Jamal Khashoggi inside the Saudi consulate in Istanbul. The public blaming of Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman amounted to an extraordinary rebuke. Even as the Biden administration released the findings, it appeared determined to preserve a relationship with Saudi Arabia by avoiding direct punishment of the prince. Questioned by reporters, Secretary of State Antony Blinken defended the approach.
What we've done by the actions that we've taken is really not to rupture the relationship, but to recalibrate it, to be more in line with our interests and our values.
Riyadh has denied any involvement of the Crown Prince in Khashoggi's murder. Police in Myanmar's second city, Mandalay, used rubber bullets and flash grenades to break up an anti-coup protest Friday, leaving at least 3 people injured. Witnesses said police moved against them in mid-afternoon. In the aftermath, people displayed several types of projectiles and munitions they said had been collected from the roadside. At least 2 of the injured told medics they had been hit by rubber bullets. Meanwhile, police fired near protesters in the main city of Yangon on Friday, sending them fleeing as the challenge to the army's bid to reimpose its rule showed no signs of slackening. The Southeast Asian nation has been in crisis since the army seized power February 1st and detained civilian government leader Aung San Suu Kyi and much of her party leadership after the military complained of fraud in a November election. Police say gunmen have abducted over 315 girls from a boarding school in northern Nigeria, the latest in a series of mass kidnappings of students in the West African nation. AP's Charles de Ledesma has more.
A spokesman says police and the military have begun joint operations to rescue the girls after the attack at the Girls' Science Secondary School. One resident said the gunmen also held up a nearby military camp and checkpoint, preventing soldiers from interfering, while the attackers spent several hours at the school. It's not immediately clear if there have been any casualties. Several large groups of armed men operate in the region and are known to kidnap for money and for the release of their members from jail. I'm Charles de Ledesma.
A mixed day on Wall Street with the Dow and the S&P lower, but the Nasdaq closing higher. The Dow lost 1.5%, the S&P dropped by 0.47%, but the Nasdaq gained 0.56%.
Hi, thank you for watching. I hope the videos are useful for you. Please subscribe to my channel using the button below.